So we want to show some tutorial at the first startup of our application to user. So for that we need to create a column in our user preferences table. So open database handler class, and at the top where we declare our user preferences table columns, we will declare one more column, private final string browser tutorial info is equal to u browser tutorial info, and in create tables if not exist we have create user preferences table. In that we will add comma after integer, then we will add browser tutorial info column as integer, and at the bottom we will create one method of public access specifier. It will return boolean value. We'll call it is show browser tutorial. Just copy the whole code from is save recent tabs. We want to query user preferences table, and we want browser tutorial info column where UPKID is 1. So we will fetch browser tutorial info column, then if result is equal to 1 we will return true, else false. After that we will create one more method of public void update browser tutorial status. So after showing it to user we want to turn it off, so we'll create pair of content values and we'll put browser tutorial info and value 0 to turn that off. Then we will use writable db.update, and we want to update user preferences table with values where up key id is equal to new string, and we'll pass string dot value of 1 because there is single row. Now open user preferences model. We'll declare browser tutorial info, and we will create getter and setter method for browser tutorial info. Then open main activity. In first initialization we are adding our user preferences, so we will set user preferences dot set browser tutorial info to 1 because we want to show it. And in settings activity where we reset settings, again we will set user preferences dot set browser tutorial info to 1 since we want to reset settings. Now in normal type survey adapter we will create a special method private void show sequence. We will create a try block. In that try block, first of all we will check if db dot is show browser tutorial. If it is true then we want to show browser tutorial. We'll catch exception e. In the exception we will create try block, and we will call db.update browser tutorial status, and we will catch exception and ignore it. Now we want to show browser tutorial, so for that we will add one special library. Just search material showcase view, and by Dino 2390 we have material showcase view library, a material design themed showcase view for Android. We are going to use that. So this is that library. It is licensed under Apache version 2.0 license. So first of all open activity credits.xml file, and after the first linear layout, that is material design icons linear layout, we will add one divider view. We missed that, with the layout width match parent and height 0.5 dp since we are present in linear layout. Then we will set background to attribute divider and progress color, and we will collapse its empty tag. After second linear layout, we will add one divider view, and after that divider view again we will add one linear layout. We will change name to material showcase view and extract string resource. Then instead of homepage zing, we'll use homepage MSV, and instead of view license zing, we will use view license MSV, and we'll reference this in credits activity, and we'll set on click listeners for them. Now since it is Apache license version 2.0, we will directly call view license. So just do one thing, copy those two else if cases one more time, and in case of homepage MSV, we want to load this URL, so copy and paste entire URL over here. And in case of view license MSV, we will show view license. So we have three cases of view license. So here we will add OR block, and we'll state id is equal to r dot id dot view licensing. We will add another OR block, and we'll check if id is equal to r dot id dot view license MSV. Then in those cases we will view license, so there is not any need to redefine those cases over here. We'll just move this case at the last. So first of all we will check for homepage cases, and then we will check for view license, so it will do that work. Now open your Gradle file of app module. In that Gradle file we want to add this library, so we'll add material showcase view 1.3.7 over here, and compile is deprecated, replace with implementation. So we'll replace it with implementation, and thereafter we will sync our project. Now after that we can use this. So in show sequence, if we want to show browser tutorial in if block, we will reference material showcase sequence. So we will rebuild our project because it is cannot resolving symbol material showcase sequence. So we'll rebuild and see if it resolves that. So could not find GitHub Dino material showcase view 1.3.7. So we'll do one thing. As you can see in documentation there is one note. Some people have mentioned that they need to add @AAR suffix to get it resolved from Jetpack. So we will use this second one instead of first one, and we will sync our project. So after JCenter we need to add maven Jetpack IO. Now we can use that. So since it is not resolving material showcase view, in the build.gradle file in repository section we have to add this maven repository. So open settings.gradle file, and in dependency resolution management after maven central we will add this maven URL. After adding this we need to sync project with Gradle files. Now it is available, so we'll import it. We'll create material showcase sequence. So it is not resolving material showcase sequence, so we need to add in build.gradle this maven line. So open settings.gradle, in dependency resolution management after maven central we will add maven URL jetpack.io and sync our project. So after syncing, it is resolving our material showcase sequence. We'll call it sequence is equal to new material showcase sequence, and we will pass main activity. So this is from uk.co.deinvite.material showcase view. It is referencing it. After that, we'll set sequence dot set on item dismissed listener. We'll add new listener. Here we'll check if position is equal to 1. Then we'll update browser tutorial status because we finished our tutorial. We have 2 items in our tutorial, so it has 0 based index. For position 0 we will not update browser tutorial status, but for position 1 we reached end, hence we update browser tutorial status to 0, so it will not show that tutorial next time when user launch application. Now we will add sequence item, new material showcase view dot builder. We'll pass main activity. Then we'll set target. Now in our home page layout, we'll set target to this menu button. So show more IB is its ID. We'll set target to show more IB, which we earlier referenced in constructor. After setting target, we'll set title text. We can pass resource ID, so we'll pass r.string.menu. Then we'll set dismiss text to got it, and we'll extract string resource. We'll just provide a resource ID. So this is title sec. So for example, this is title text and this is dismiss text. So we set it to menu and got it. Then we can set content text. We'll set this to use this to open menu. We'll extract string resource and just pass resource ID. Then we will call set sequence method, and thereafter we will call build method, and then we will complete this sequence item. So set sequence accepts is sequence, so we will pass true. Then just copy this sequence item one more time. Now this time we'll set target to this types count button. So it is relative layout with ID types count child tvhprl. We already referenced it, so we'll directly use it over here. We'll pass it to set target, and we'll set title text as minimize tab. We will extract string resource and we'll pass resource ID. We'll keep got it as dismiss text, but we'll set content text as use this to minimize maximized tab, and we'll extract string resource and just pass resource ID to it. We'll set sequence to true and we'll build. Then after this we'll call sequence dot start, that will start our sequence. So we'll test our functionality on Android emulator, but before that, if there exists old version of application on emulator, you need to uninstall it first of all. And we missed one thing. In add user preferences method, we need to put browser tutorial info and get browser tutorial info from user preferences. And now we will run our app on emulator and test if it is working. So it is showing tutorial to us. It is working fine. As you can see, we call this add user preferences method, in first initialization method of main activity and in reset to default button of settings activity. So now we are ready with our tutorial. Now we'll open our app for second time and test. So it is showing it again and again. So we will do one thing. We'll write log dot d. We'll give tag as cbk and we will write string dot value of position and see if it is working. So in app module we need to set debuggable to true for debug version and we'll sync our project. In between we will start our emulator. We'll uninstall our old version and after that we'll run our application one more time to test what is position when our item is dismissed. So we'll open Logcat. We will search for CBK and then we'll press got it. So the first position is 0 and the second position is also 0 and we are checking if position is equal to 1 then only we are updating its tutorial status. So it is returning the wrong position, hence we will do one thing. We'll cut this and when we start our sequence we will update browser tutorial status to 0 and we'll remove this on dismissed listener from sequence. So at the time of starting our sequence we will directly call update browser tutorial status and now we'll make debuggable to false and sync our project. And when you open about activity, legal information and open source licenses, you can see we added 3 libraries but we used one more library com.google.guava Android. So just search that on Google, open its GitHub repository. So it is using Apache license 2.0. So we'll attribute them. We will use this URL as homepage. So we synced our project by setting debuggable to false. Now we'll do one more thing. We'll test this later. Just do one more thing. Open credits activity.java and credits activity underscore credits.xml. Then after the third linear layout, we'll add one divider view and we will add another linear layout and we will set text as Guava, Google Core Libraries for Java, and we'll extract string resource. Then we will set home page Guava and view license Guava. We'll reference those two in credits activity. We'll set on click listener for them. Then since it is using Apache license version 2.0, we will add or id is equal to r.id.view license Guava, and just copy this else if condition one more time before our view license condition. And for home page Guava, we'll show this URL. Now we are ready. Now we'll run app on emulator, but before that we will uninstall our previous version of application from emulator and then reinstall our app. Now when we open app for the second time, it is not showing that tutorial to us, so that is fixed. Now we will open settings activity, about activity, legal information, open source licenses, and we attributed Guava, Google Core Libraries for Java. Now we are done with this section. In the next video we will wrap up this section